So here I am in some beautiful Swiss forest, just heading up this trail here. It is about 11:35 on a summer's day in June, and I have taken a train from Aarau, the town where I'm staying, to here. I'm kind of near Ballstahl, I guess, if you have a rough idea of how Switzerland's laid out. And I'm going to climb up this mountain, and which is part of the Jura, and then hoping to be up there for about 1 o'clock. And then I'm going to take off and try and fly back home to Aarau. It's about a 980 meter climb, so it's a bit of exercise carrying all my gear. So finally up here on the takeoff, about 2 hours after I got off the train, so a bit of a hike. That's Ballstahl, the town you can just see a bit of down in front, and home is in that direction. It seems to be very inverted at the moment. Looking into the distance, you can hardly see the higher ground, and there's definitely thermal cycles coming through. There's a wind turbine down there that spins faster and slower, and the wind is sort of behaving in a thermic fashion. So at this site you've got the windmill right out front, and then you've got a windsock halfway up. There's another launch where you head out through a little gap in the trees, and then there's this launch back here where you just head out over the trees there, and with a reasonable performing wing like I've got, I'm not really concerned about getting out of there. I've done a lot of flying from here with mini wings, and then it's yeah, you've got less room, and also the wind obviously plays a big factor. If you take off into a thermal, you get up, no worries getting out at all, but if you take off into sync, not so good. And ideally the wind turbine out front should be spinning, and both windsocks should be indicating a wind this way. That's usually when there's a thermal anchored up here on the hill, and then that's easy to take off and easy to get out. It is happening occasionally, and I'll wait for one of those moments, like maybe there's one coming. Well, it's just about 2 o'clock. This is definitely the strongest cycle that's come through here so far today. Oh, beautiful. Doesn't get any easier than that. Ooh. Straight into the thermal. It's no snow. Oh, I didn't send my video. There's quite a lot of drift. Now, hoping to hook into a thermal somewhere over here. This is feeling shitty rather than lifty, but let's see. The eagles look like. Right. My chance of going into wind is not good. It's going to drift, so can I get myself into a thermal and at least climb somewhere? I don't think there's a train that runs down this valley. I guess there'll be a bus. Because it's looking like I've gained 100 foot and I've been flying down the valley. It doesn't look like I'm going to be going in the direction that I wanted. So I can figure out where this thermal is and get a decent climb. Area is telling me I've outdrifted the thermal and that I should go back upwind to find it, which I guess is possible. So let's see, track says the thermal should be around here somewhere. It is. I'm going to need to make more of an effort to push and extend my turn up a little bit. I guess worst case scenario is I walk for a bit and get a bus. Have an on average height gain, but it's going to last long and it's not doing me much good. It's heading out towards the valley then. Extending this way. And then back. One of the issues here is it's harvest hasn't happened yet, and it's sort of haymaking season, and the farmers have a lot of livestock that eats silage, and they really don't like it if you land in a field that hasn't been mown yet. Even one that's just been mown, they won't be happy. They will moan. There are a couple of approved landings here. One of them is upwind of me now, there's no way I'm going to get there. There's a lot of fields I'm looking at down here that are cropped, and I'm going to be able to land in those. There is a road that runs down the middle of the valley there, not the busy one with all the cars, but this side of it here there's a sort of a cycling path. There's always got people walking and cycling on it, but in a paraglider you can land on it. I guess if it's bombing, that's where they go. This could be a sustained climb over a slow one. I'm hoping once they get above the high ground here things will improve. Maybe the wind will drop off if it's more of a valley wind. Maybe I'll be able to follow the higher ground out front, get out of this valley. Well, the good news is getting up a bit. Bad news is you get blown to Delamont. I'm going to follow this high ridge down to the front and then jump the gap. Sometimes we get a sort of a convergence here over the top of this. Just about make the high Alps off there in the distance. Very inverted. Wow, there's a lot of snow on them still. They're all white. There's an eagle about the same height as me, Kay that way. Now, if I can get back onto this ridge, then I'm going to have a go at pushing into wind. So I think that's, maybe this is a guy down there. See, someone's working over there anyway, pretty low. The other side. I think that's a paraglider down there as well, maybe two. So those could be the guys who took off here getting blown downwind towards Delamont or somewhere, I guess. My mission is definitely to go into the wind, which means hopefully get high and then jump on bar and see what all this fuss about sea wings is, whether or not it's going to make it any easier to go into the wind with the paraglider. A big welcoming thermal is a small broken feeling thermal, but try to extend upwind a bit. I'm out of it again. Yeah, totally out of it again. And instrument says, whoa! There it is. 1, 2, 3. Basel TMA isn't active today, but if it was, then this would be about as high as I could go. But because they can activate it at a moment's notice, and I have no way really of knowing, generally try not to go much higher than this until I'm clear of it. Just gonna see if I can push forwards into wind now. See what happens. Ideally what I want is another climb somewhere over here. There's an eagle, but he's not climbing. So thermal here somewhere would be nice. Get me back high enough to be able to glide across. really looks like that wind turbine is missing a blade, but I'm sure it's an illusion. Here we go. Oh, new wing and some thermals. I don't feel like I can be as aggressive with it as I could with the Maestro. I don't know what this one's going to do. So it would be more better, but this might be enough. See, got minus 30 kilometers an hour, which indicates GPS problems. It's not really very helpful. Rear risers. Definitely takes time to get used to that. Dealing with a new wing. More interesting. So this was the point at which my head cam died, and it's a handy tip if you're using these action cameras, even though you might delete files often when you're finished with the camera, which I always do. Your computer's probably creating a trash folder which might be hidden from you, which will gradually take up space on the card, and so you really need to periodically format it, preferably even each time you put the card in there, just to ensure the full amount is available to you, because the card ran out of space. And yep, headcam died, and hence I've switched to a Go 2, which is not a bad camera, amazing for how small it is, terrible battery life, but the audio is pretty much worthless. So but it gives you an idea anyway of what's going on. So the river you can see down there is called the River Arm. It's pretty easy navigation on this flight. Basically, you get out of that valley, turn left and follow the river home. And down there, just about visible now, you can see the steam towers, the cooling towers for a nuclear power plant, which is of course right on the river because they need a lot of water. And usually it's not running at the moment. Normally you get a pretty good indication of the wind strength and direction from that, and it quite often has its own cloud over it, although you're not allowed to fly over there and make use of the house thermal. But yeah, so from here it's following the ridge back towards home, and I'm out of the Basel TMA now, which means I can go up 1,000 foot in the Zurich TMA, which is nice because it's a bit cooler than it was not long ago. So the big town in front, and in the distance to the right by the river there is Aarau, that's Goal. I'm not going to get there from here with a headwind without one more thermal, and so I'm looking for another climb somewhere, and not finding much, but trying to stay over the high ground, figuring that that's going to be my best bet. So I've had a bit of a death glide to this point, and in front of me is this very promising looking hill. It's the last sort of high ground before I turn right and then head towards the playing fields down by the city where I'm going to land, but I need to top up. I'm not going to get there into wind otherwise. So given that the wind is coming from pretty much in front of me here, I'm fairly confident I'm going to find something. And yeah, sure enough, I get a good climb and I get enough height to go on final glide. So the town in front of me is Aarau, and that big green playing field down on the right, that's Goal. And I've obviously got glide. I've got enough height to be able to glide over the top of the town a bit before I turn and come in downwind. Yeah, pretty cool flight. There's about 2 hours and 30 minutes, something like that. Very slow because I was going into wind, and I'm pretty cautious. But I got here, that was the main thing.